Well, feel free to chat them on yourselves. We're just going to wait for a few more folks to get on.
Sure.
Hi, Helman.
Hi there, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Great.
I see Betsy is on with us. That's great.
Hello.
Hi, Steve.
How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Okay.
Steve, did you get a message from Courtney Ledlow of Wolf? She said she got back to you.
I haven't looked yet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Helman.
Hi there.
How are you?
Doing great. How you doing?
Good, good.
See everybody.
Hey, Ted.
How are you, Trish?
Wonderful. Wonderful. It's a beautiful day. Just went for a walk real quick.
I saw
Yes.
it as I was racing from the meeting to the car, but it's beautiful.
I know. Just had to take the moment.
Good. Good.
All right, let me see here how many others we are waiting on. So we can get started. Let's see. Registered. I think most everyone is on who registered, except for a couple. So
Should we just get started?
yeah, I'd say let's rock
In
and
the interest
roll.
of time. So sounds good. Well, first of all, welcome everybody. I'm Ted Daniels. I'm with Daniels Design and Remodeling, and today, both Pro and Fairfax County are having this great discussion. And our topic this quarter is about the permit processing timelines, including metrics. And joining us today from Fairfax County is Helman Castro. He is both PE and lead, I'm not sure what AP means, but the director of operations. So he is the man. We have Betsy Smith with Land Development Services. She's the branch chief. And then we also have from Customer and Technical Support Center, Daniela Barber, she's the management analysis for operations branch, and kind of messing that up a little bit, but welcome everybody. I think we're going to have a great conversation, and looking forward to it.
All right.
Let's kick it off.
Thank you, Ted. I appreciate that. Again, I'm Helman Castro with Fairfax County. I'm the Director of Operations for Land Development Services. The AP for accredited professional. That's at least lead accreditation. So we're going to talk a little bit today about metrics that we measure. The purpose of these metrics, and we have those in the web, and Danielle is going to speak to them in a minute, is to try to help industry with some predictability as to how long things are taking to go through the county, and it varies depending on how many applications we have. In fact, thank you, Ted, Debbie, and team for helping us get the word out about we're trying to get folks to apply early. I mean, we call this spring season, deck season. There's a lot of permits going to be coming our way, and the earlier folks apply, the easier it is for us to try to spread some of that workload, if possible. I mean, we understand everyone has commitments. So, but thanks again for getting that out. The metrics that we have, and Danielle is going to talk about, it's not about every single plan type that we have, but what we try to capture in these metrics are the ones that we see a lot of activity around. If there are other things that you see that you would like to get metrics on, we can talk about that. And also, if there are other things that you would like to see presented a little differently, we can also talk about that. So we, based on the input that we've had from you and other folks from the industry, we put this together. And so, Danielle, why don't you walk us through what we have, and I'm sure that's going to generate some Q&A, and we can elaborate more on that. But
that sounds good.
Yeah,
Do I have the ability to share my screen?
You should.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'll I'll do that right now. Okay. All right, can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, so I'm just going to start you all off here on our LDS landing page, all right, our home page. And if you just get to the LDS homepage and you scroll down past a few items here, you get down to this box that says metrics, and you can click on the red button that says all metrics, and it'll take you to our newly redesigned metrics webpage. We have 4 primary infographics that we're trying to get folks to look at to see time to approval timeline. And one that you all will probably be most interested in is we've got a residential building permits time to approval infographic. This one, as you can see here, there's 4 different categories. There's total projects. This is for a month, for the month of January 2021. The total projects that were met approval, right, went all the way through to issuance. The average number of submissions that it took to reach that issuance. The current expected time to approval, and the expected county days. So like Helman was saying, for decks, right, deck season is coming up. In the month of January, we issued 124 deck permits. It took on average 1.6 attempts to get a permit through to issuance. It took our current expected timeline to reach that issuance is 20 days. And the county spent 12 days doing the review of that. So the other 8 days, that's with the applicant. Those are, days waiting for the applicant to respond or to upload something again or finish clicking on something. So in total, the expected timeline to get a successful deck permit through for the month of January was 20 days. And the same can be read for all of these different residential building permit types for interior alteration, attached addition, detached addition, finished basement. We picked the top 10 most applied for permit types to include in this infographic. So that's what you're seeing here. If you're looking for the commercial building infographic, you just click on that one. And we've got attached addition, detached addition, max occupancy, interior alteration, antenna and balcony for this one. This one kind of changes from month to month, depending on which are the most applied for during that month. And for this one, we actually do use a 3-month range so that we have a larger data set for that. For site plans, you also, we chose the top 10 most popular, most applied for plan types and put those in here. For each of the infographics, we have the same 4 categories to look for, which is total projects, average number of submissions, current expected time to approval, and expected county time. I also want to point out for the residential and building permits, if you click on the infographic itself, and it does say this here, it says, see the permit wizard for step-by-step instructions on applying for a permit. To access the permit wizard, click on this image. So if you just click on the infographic, it takes you into our new permitting wizard application that's available. So say you're a homeowner, and this is your first time applying for something. This is not the screen you would see this screen. And it would tell you, how to apply for a household appliance permit, for example. Or if you're applying for a single family home, those are all available in here as guides to walk you through that permitting process. So that is pretty handy to just be able to click on the infographic and boom, it'll take you to that permitting guide to help you navigate that process. So that's for residential and commercial. For the site plans infographic, if you click on that one, it takes you to the site development website, which it looks like it's just thinking, here we go, site development. So if you had any further questions about that, you've got that information just by clicking on the infographic. And the final infographic I'll show you guys today is for volumetrics. And here you can see the number per month. This is month by month. So this is for January. Oh, and I realized one of the previous infographics said 2021. So I will go and update that. It should have said 2022. We are in a new year now. So here you can find the residential applications received, residential permits issued, commercial applications received, commercial permits issued. Same thing for site. And then you can also see the number of building inspections and site inspections completed that month. So it's just kind of giving you a general idea of the workload that's being done at LDS right now. So those are our primary metrics that we have up right now, but we're continually talking about, adding to this and developing it further. But it is very convenient to now have these kind of real time. This is updated at the very beginning of each month, available to you so you can see what the timeline is for a given month.
Thank you, Danielle. Don't leave this up.
Okay.
Any questions regarding anything in the infographics? If something is not clear about what these columns mean, let's talk about it.
Well, I'll jump in and get things started. But anybody, if you have something to ask, just jump in. Again, the expected county delays a day, excuse me, the blue box I guess I'm not clear on the difference between the green and the blue box. Can you explain what those?
Yeah, and Bill Hicks and I were talking about this just the other day. It may be that we need to switch the green numbers all the way to the right, because that is the output. The blue number is the number of days that it takes us to review the application and get it through. So like if you look at DEX, for example, what that means is that it took about 20 days to get a deck permit, and it took us about 12 days to deal with the application, from intake to review to all of that. So that's what that means, just to give you an idea of the time we're spending reviewing the application. That's what that is.
So what's the other 8 days? Is that in the deck situation? Is that just because you're saying you spent 12 days on it, but it took 20 to pass to get through those 12 days of.
That is correct, because some of that is the application in the applicant's hand, right? Because you have it, right? So this is from the day the application goes in till it goes out, it's 20 days. And the 12 days, yeah, are inside those 20, yes.
Okay,
so
so
8
some
days.
of those are weekends probably?
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. It is actually calendar days, so not
Yeah.
business days. So it does count weekends. Yep.
Okay, so we're looking at 12 business days, but it took 20 calendar days to get it through. Is that what okay, that's
Yeah.
great. And bravo, this is a wonderful effort you all have taken on and produced. It's really great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. Would it have been easy, a question for folks on the call that are not county, because we've been looking at this, fairly frequently, so we're familiar with it, but would you find it easier if the green information was all the way to the right? Would that be less confusing or not really?
That would be better.
Would that be better?
My opinion, yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Great.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
great.
And I have a question, just to be clear about this. This metric is always looking backwards a month, isn't that correct? In other words, you put this metric together from the previous month's data. That's correct?
That is correct. Yeah. So at the very beginning of February, I collected all of the reports and then crunched all the numbers and put the infographic together. And this was posted on Monday of this week. Yeah.
Okay. So it's helpful for giving an expectation, but it's not currently what is happening like today. It's what happened last month.
Yes.
Okay.
Helman, is there any thought, and Danielle, any thought of putting prospective or future dates in terms of how long it's taking to get through various departments to review?
Yes. Steve, I'm not quite following your question. Can you repeat?
As Bob was just saying, this is in the past, the statistics. Is there any thoughts of putting on the website, any information about the backlogs in the various departments at this point, from permitting, site, zoning?
Actual, we know with the technology that we have today, Steve, we cannot do that right now. But we like we said before, we have new technology. The Plus system is going to be launched in October. And we're working on building metrics for that system. That system will allow us to have more up-to-date data that we can report on. And our goal is to provide information as current as possible. So to answer your question, yes, that is the intent. We don't have the tool to do it today, but that's coming.
Okay,
And
that's great.
Yeah.
This is still fabulous, though,
Mhm.
getting a sense where it was the month in the past. I think it's great. Thank you.
Yeah, good information. Yeah.
I could make a suggestion, Helman, that you might be able to maybe not predict what's happening in the future necessarily, but maybe taking the data that you already have and doing a trend line. Like it started, you can see that we start getting a series of months of these together, even in 3 months worth of data, you could start to see trends happening.
Yes,
It might be a predictor.
Yeah, we've talked about that. That's a great idea. And as we collect the data, right, we can even predict. And like we know, for example, that the coming weeks are going to be pretty tough because spring season is coming, and so we know that, and that's a spike. But that is good information to share with with industry, so you can see what the trends are. That's a good idea. So noted. Yep.
Anybody else?
Did you all see? And I don't want to get ahead because I know Betsy's on the call and I know Steve are on the call. I was going to talk a little bit about our new release from Plus, but I don't. If Steve or Betsy were planning on talking about that, I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk about that. Otherwise, I can talk a little bit about that.
Helman, should I stop sharing my screen?
No, leave it there because I want to go back, Danielle. As a matter of fact, let's jump into that. Last week we released. So Plus is the new plan and land use system, right? So when I say that we're going to have better technology in October, it's because the fourth release of this technology will be rolled out in October of later this year. Thus far, we have released three phases on this big project, and release 3 just took place last week, and that had a plan type, which is household appliances. So if you're applying for a household appliance, I don't know, hot water heater, stuff, you would have to go now in the new system and apply for it. And so I don't know if anyone has a chance to experience that yet. As you do your remodelings and house expansions and maybe kitchen remodeling, you may be getting to work with a new appliance. So that's now on our new system. So a letter to industry went out last week. I think Mary, our PIO, communicated with your organization, so you should have that information. But what I wanted to do is, Danielle, if you can again hit in the infographic and take us to commit to our permit wizard, because because that took us to Plus, our new system, right? So you see that button right there at the bottom? It says apply for a household appliance permit. Go ahead and click in there, Danielle, please.
And Helman, just to clarify, this is not plus. This
And
is the,
right.
yeah, the
right.
guide that can walk you through applying if you have any difficulty.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's all I wanted, Danielle. So what you see here, so we have a permit wizard to help homeowners and everyone to walk these steps and see how you go about applying. You can go straight to the system. You don't have to go through the permit wizard. But I just bring this, just mention this because it's available and has been available. So it just, I don't know if anyone has any questions or has tried to use the wizard, but it's here.
I have a question. No, I've never used this system. It's new. We have several architects in the office. Does each person create their own account, or is it a general office account when you create a plus account?
Well, that's a really good question. When you're applying for a permit,
Yeah.
I would like for Betsy, if she's on the call, to answer that question. Or Steve Kenrick.
I apologize. I'm sorry. What was the question?
The question is, we have several architects in our office. When we're creating the plus account, is there one general office account, or does each architect create their own when we to start submitting permits?
So funny that you bring that up. So here's the situation. You can have what is called an organizational account within Plus, and then you can share that account throughout your office, and you can add in multiple contacts. So person 1, 2, and 3, would all have their information in there, and then you could go into Plus under your organization. And when you're doing the application process, it's gonna ask you who the applicant was, and then you select person number 2 and you move along through the process. The problem with doing that is related to data conversion. FIDO doesn't have organizations. FIDO has individuals.
Right,
So when we're doing data conversion, and we've come across this as part of Release 3 with Household Appliance, when some of the trade contractors, like for example, an FH Fur, went in and they're given, step-by-step constructions, and it's very detailed. And it tells you specifically, you have to select individual, and you have to enter your name exactly this and your email address exactly this. Otherwise, your legacy permits from FIDO will not come over to Plus. And I can tell you, probably out of like 25 or 26 contractors that have created their accounts in Plus, 2 of them did it correctly. So
Yeah.
I think that what you're going to have to do, if you want to use that organizational functionality, what you'll have to do is follow the instructions to create your new account, so that you can get, as an individual, so that you can get all of your FIDO stuff over, manage that account until all those permits and stuff that you have in that account have a final, and then you can create your organization account and create your separate contacts and use that moving forward.
Okay, that makes sense.
Has anybody else had the chance to use this system? Can offer any feedback?
I mean, I've done it for a variance and a special permit application just this week. Seems easy, intuitive. It's a lot like uploading stuff into Project Docs, except you don't have to do the second step of going in through FIDO as well. So all the information is in just one spot. It's good stuff.
Thank you, Steve. That's great feedback. Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you, I know it's maybe going back a little bit, but one of the things that I have a question on, maybe you have some advice for us, going back to the metrics in that sheet, talking about the number of resubmissions, that, where it's, takes 1.6 resubmissions or something like that. I know we also suffer from that, where we submit a set of plans and it gets kicked back to us, and then we resubmit it for, it could be something small or not, but it's the resubmission fees. I know those are, it's the they're starting to add up a little bit for us on the different projects. Do you have any tools that might help us understand a little bit better what should be submitted so that we can avoid those, all of those, being kicked back to us for either correction or clarification and then resubmit it?
Yeah, I will let Steve handle that. We have a bunch of, definitely we have Q&As, RFQs, frequently asked questions. We have a list of those. But that is a really good question, that if we cannot answer today, I'd like to get back to you on that. Steve, any thoughts on how that, we could help, any information that you have that might be helpful in that vein?
Like maybe the top 10 reasons that things are kicked back or something.
Right.
I mean, we can take a look at that and get back to you. To be honest with you, I think that, right off the top of my head, I think some of the issues that we have now is, more centered around like the naming convention of the files and stuff like that. With some of the changes that zoning made with plats, that's not really a comment anymore. It has to be something pretty extreme, like, that someone didn't even draw the deck on the plat for it to get kicked back at pre-screen. But we can try to see if we can find out maybe what some of those top comments are.
Yeah, it'd be great. I think that would be helpful for all of us, because I imagine for you all too, that it's somewhat tiresome or frustrating. You'd like to pick up a set of plans or work right through and say, yep, everything looks good, sign it and move on to the next one, and having them keep circling back to the to the end of your pile.
So
absolutely, yes.
I may have gotten my mic to work. Did I get my mic to work?
You
Yes.
did.
Excellent. What I want to add to that is that I think since, as Steve said, we corrected a lot of the plat challenges we faced early on, we are, and we can statistically look at this as well, but I think we are processing a pretty good percentage first time through to review agencies.
That's great. Yeah, I think those are, I'm just going to echo it. I think it's frustrating for all of us, and anything we can do to help minimize those would be amazing. Any other thoughts, everybody?
There's nothing in the chat.
Trish is too quiet.
Well, I don't pull permits any longer, but I guess I'm just so pleased from our very first meetings at Helman and Betsy and Angela, Debbie, and I had, and Steve, on where we started on this platform of helping each other and removing the adversarial relationship to building a can-do and help each other out. It's just very rewarding to listen to. So I don't really have anything to add because I'm not, I like to step in as the membership chair just so I always know what benefits we have so I can continue to pass it off. And this is definitely sure one of them. And I congratulate everybody who's involved.
Thank you, Trish. The feeling is absolutely mutual. We, we depend on your feedback. And our goal is to, get you through this process as quickly as we can. And, there are shortcomings or things that you see on our end, we definitely appreciate the feedback. We want to see you get through your projects as, as fast as you can, because I know what that means. We know what that means. So we really want to help. We have, thank you, Ted. We have, our rest of the year is pretty challenging for us as we're building this release 14 plus. Steve Kenrick is, from our team, is working pretty heavily on that. There's a whole basically army of folks working on this thing. It's a big project. And as we deploy the new release in the fall, all of, like, you look at this infometric, all those plan types will be in the new system. And we're working on preparing training, getting the word out. But it's going to be a little bit of a transition into that new world, and we want to try to make that as smooth as we can. So we'll be leaning on you a little bit to, as we develop communications to, so you can get the word out to the membership. And, because communications are, our best weapon to be ready for this thing. So we really appreciate the, the close communication that we're having with your team. And yeah, it's great.
That's great. And I too want to applaud. I think to think about how far the county in general has come from when COVID started, and one day you have to lock the doors and don't show back up, and trying to figure out how to do inspections via Zoom, and just from where that was to today, it seems, from my perspective, I'm like Trish, I don't pull permits very often, but my team does, and the process is just getting better. I hope you can take the time to reflect on that. The work you're doing great.
I appreciate that. And like they say, it takes two to tango. And I think industry as a whole has also, learned the system. And that was hard, going from from paper to all electronic. So we've done it. And now that when we transition to the new system in the fall, it's going to be, again, a new learning curve, but I think it's going to be from a different place, because now we're used to doing electronic submissions. And I think we've gotten, a lot better at the communication. And that's going to be, it's going to make it easier. And along that vein, I wanted to ask you, do you all feel that our communication has gotten a little better as we exchange information to get the get the permits through? Do you feel that we're communicating a little bit better? If you recall, a few months ago, we were having some communication issues. We've had a couple of meetings since then. I think it's gotten better, but any feedback, any thoughts, any concern from anyone out there on communications? That's good.
Crickets.
Yeah, and we'll continue, even without any feedback, we are working diligently in the office, trying to make sure that we close communication gaps, and we try to make sure that you're getting the information that you need in a timely manner. And if you're not, please let us know. You can contact Steve, Betsy, myself. We're happy to help.
I would say in my opinion, the best communication that I've ever encountered is whenever we have a permit review, that the name of the reviewer with their phone number and their email is on there, because sometimes you can just solve a problem with a very quick call or an email. So as long as that is in the review comment, their phone number and their email, that's fantastic. That's the best.
Thank you, Bob. And we are working towards that. As a matter of fact, we had a conversation this morning in that vein. So that's coming real soon. What we're trying to do is making sure that we manage our communication. We have limited resources like anybody else, right? We don't have, an unlimited number of reviewers.
Yeah.
But we have high volume. So we want to make sure that we are communicating with you and indicating who's reviewing the application, but also where to send communication back to us. That way you're not hitting us in 2 or 3 different places. So that needs to come into one place so that we can jump in and, and deal with it. But we just had that conversation this morning. We need to go through, some implementation, but that is the plan, Bob, is to have the person's name that did the review when information goes back to you.
Right.
More to come on that. Yep.
Good.
And I'll jump in too. I think Bob's exactly right. I mean, it feels like you're actually, this isn't, our projects aren't going into some vortice somewhere, and it's coming back. It's actually, you can see there's a person back there, and it is happening. It may not be happening on every one like you want it to, Helman, but I know my team on 2 different occasions have had a phone number where there's an issue. They look at the phone or pick up the phone, and either have left a message, I know, and that the reviewer got back to them, within a matter of hours, and then the thing's resolved. It's been, I completely echo Bob.
Yeah. So the one thing, thank you, I appreciate that. And the one thing we're being very cautious about is this. the volume of applications that we have from this type of permits is pretty high. In other areas in the organization, we have a slower volume. I want to say site plans, maybe, and it's easier to deal with one person. You're dealing with one reviewer until you get that through. It's easier. When it comes to permits, like say deck permits, it's a high volume. If you were tied to one reviewer, that would actually slow you down. Give you an example. Say, imagine I reviewed your permit and I put my name and I send my comments back to you, and then you're hoping that you're going to get me back to deal with this permit, which you could, right? But instead, we would like for you to, even though you know my name, that you send you reply back to this inbox, because this is what happens. I could be that I'm super busy or I'm out of the office. But then if somebody else sees the email, they can pick it up and work on it now. They'll know that I'm working on it, right? But they don't have to wait for me to work on it. So what that does is it better utilizes our resources so that we can get things done faster for you. But like Bob is requesting, we're working on having our names out there, but we're still asking that you reply back to in one place, in one bucket, so we can all, it's like one inbox, so we can all pick it up from there, and we'll know, who's involved. But also we want to have, we're going to also our CET line, our customer experience team. We are adding our communications, the telephone number of that team, so you can actually, if you want to call somebody, if you're not, the email is ideal, but if you need to talk to somebody, you can call this number and they'll connect you with the next person available. Or if you have a name, you can ask for that person. If that person is available, we'll take the call. So we're trying to improve our communication while trying to make things efficient in our office, for your own benefit, to get you through as fast as we can. So just trying to juggle that, making sure that we address your concern about a point of contact while we also address the issue of the timeline, because we really want to get you through the process as fast as we can.
So that's actually fascinating. So are you saying that, at least what's going through my mind is, a permit comes into your facility, the next reviewer picks it up, looks at it, goes through it. If there's questions, we'll type the questions in, send it back. And then when we get it, make those adjustments or clarifications, and we set it back into the system. It doesn't go back to their inbox. It goes to a general box that somebody, maybe that same person by happenstance, but the next reviewer who's free reaches in and pulls it out and we'll finish it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, and this is, to be honest, that whole concept is not new. In fact, Stephen Betsy can chime in. We have been very successful thus far with that system. I mean, we issue about 70,000 permits a year, and we have been leveraging that system. And but yet, totally understand where Bob is coming from. Hey, can I have a name? And we get it, and we're going to do that. So that way, you have a name and you have the process, and hopefully this is going to help a little bit. But yeah, we want you to be in touch.
Okay.
And
Well, I understand what you're saying about your efficiency in your office. I get that. So that makes sense. If you have, if it's more efficient to respond to a central inbox, and as long as it gets routed to a person who can help us, that's your internal thing. I get that. That's fine.
Yeah. Clever.
Just to echo Helman, it generally allows us to organize and process everything in the order it was received. So things don't get pulled out of line, things don't get lost, people on vacation and it doesn't sit in people's inboxes or in their queue and they're not in that day, they call in sick, whatever the case may be. We are able to, efficiently process everything in the order in which it's received, which seems to be the most fair, equitable, and consistent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can just, hi, this is Catherine Lunsford. I'm Assistant Branch Chief in the Zoning Permit section. And just to kind of echo what Betsy said, I will say that we originally tried having stuff come back to the same reviewer. And we found that it is much more efficient to just have it like a rolling queue. Because then, you know, whoever's up can take the next one. So I would like to echo that it's much more efficient to do it this way.
Okay.
Yeah, it also sounds great to me where you've got, I don't know, it feels a little more like you're not dealing with the opinion of one person, but you're dealing with, you know, just what's right and wrong, right? Going through. I think sounds great. It's just fascinating. I never knew it or thought of it that way.
Right.
Anything else? Anybody have any other questions? Well, I think at this point, I mean, bravo, team, you did a great job. This is fascinating information, I think very helpful. And I look forward to the next quarter discussion.
Sounds great, Ted. And if in between you'll think of anything, let us know, and you know we'll engage again. Happy to help.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, everyone.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
Thank you.
happy
Thank you.
day. Enjoy
Thank
the
you.
rest of your week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
All right, great job.